I realized recently what holds almost all programmer guys like us back is ego more than anything else, more than ability, more than drive. Because I made a couple of videos recently. One was I was brutally roasting my friend-ish, Nicholas, about his web dev skills. And the other one was just me being very introspective and being like, there are times I've just totally used my logical thinking to destroy people I think have like inferior ideas to me and I think aren't based and red-pilled enough. And a ton of people commented on that video, despite it being pretty edgy, which is pretty awesome. I mean, for a community to do that, like, one guy pointed out, I think very rightfully, that no one really wants to see that. That's just like me explaining my self-centered experiences, me, you know? And a YouTube channel like this should be to give back to other people. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video, like to try to explain in a wider way, in a wider sense, that maybe you can apply to your own life. Because ultimately, that's what I'm here to do, is help other people. Like, there's no point in me just personally documenting this stuff. I mean, I guess so I can see it later, but whatever. Point is, a lot of people in the comment sections of that video just gave excellent advice, and I could kind of see, like, wiser, older programmers with a twinkle in their eye that I don't know, I could kind of feel they, like, related to me, or, like, they had kind of gone through a similar trajectory in life of being in these like egocentric thought patterns about other people, and then realizing later that's just the worst thing you can do. So why is it the worst thing you can do? I don't like claim to be fully enlightened about this now, because I think that would be just going back to having like a huge ego. Like I have to admit, I still am probably gonna be dealing with the repercussions of realizing I have a huge ego for years to come. But I have been reading a little bit about it. Nothing crazy like Socrates or whatever psychologist. There it is again. My ego like defending myself. But basically, all I did was read some book called Ego is the Enemy, because it was recommended to me on Spotify. It was on my recommended page. So I was like, fuck it, I have extra audiobook hours. Listen to that, and it gave me so much insight as to why ego holds everyone back, holds programmers back, holds especially programmer guys back. And it's because, first of all, if you think you're the shit, if you think you're cracked at everything, it's really hard for you to improve, because you can't objectively look at your own abilities and see, like, yeah, I made that website, but other people have made way cooler things. That guy made Ruby on Rails, DHH. Other people have made better frameworks and have gone farther and have done more than me. I'm still not there yet, even though I feel accomplished and better than like all of my peers in this thing. You can have a momentary lead, you know, you can kind of get out ahead of everyone because you're dedicated to programming on your own, you know, and maybe you program on your own outside of school, which your other classmates don't do yet. But that superiority you feel because you're better than people right now will be your biggest downfall, because you'll just kind of ride that wave. You'll be like, yeah, I'm better at CSS, I'm better at Linux, I don't need to do anything else. Like, I'm such a better programmer to any of these other people around me that are just learning the basic Java algorithms in their computer science theory class. They'll never get a job. And then you kind of let that blind you, and you stop improving, and those people will creep past you slowly but surely, because you're just kind of impervious to all of that. Maybe that doesn't convince you yet. You're kind of like, okay, maybe a little bit, but I can still see my own weaknesses and know when to improve. So that's kind of next level. Your ego is deeper. I feel like that kind of resonated with me, but not completely as much as the fact of smacking down other people logically just gets you nowhere, and I thought it did for so long. And the crazy thing about ego is it kind of defends itself. You know, I was arguing in that edgy video last time. Yeah, I was such a dick for saying XYZ to the nutrition teacher or whatever person, for smacking them down logically, but wasn't I right though? Wasn't, like, I'm so creative and logical, like, wasn't what I was saying kind of valid though? So isn't that all right? Even if it kind of accomplished nothing other than me being an asshole to this one person. And that's the insidious thing with ego. It like keeps itself alive, you know? Like, I wasn't even able to accept deep down that was just a wrong thing to do. I was like, yeah, it was a wrong thing to do, but wasn't I also kind of right though? Which is just so crazy. It goes so many levels deep, and that's kind of like what I was talking about with being like at least a little bit meta aware of stuff. Like, I wasn't trying to be like, oh, I'm an asshole, but at least I'm meta aware. It does come off as that, and again, here I'm just fucking defending my ego, so it doesn't even matter, dude. I was completely wrong about saying anything like that to try to break anyone out of the matrix, so to speak. Or, yeah, it's just not something you should ever do. And all those instances, like, I thought about each one of them a lot harder, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized, wow, I was just completely in the wrong. So, like, take Bash Bunny, for instance. Like, just kind of roasting her based on her, like, e-girl persona, you know, like stuffed animals, neon lights, all that stuff. And if you think about it from a deep level, at least my motivation, like, why am I not okay with that, you know? Because all she's doing is, like, slight tweaks to, like, change her appearance, change her cosmetic. I totally do that too. Like, I'm also, everyone wants to maximize how good they look, you know? I use, like, position and lighting, and, like, I'm always thinking about that too. So I'm literally no better than her. I'm literally doing the exact same thing, but I feel superior about it for no reason at all. And it's, like, just a very slight aesthetic difference, and I'm like, your aesthetic difference completely makes your opinion invalid and you suck because of it. It's like, what the fuck did that achieve? That's just fucking retarded. Why am I saying that? And yeah, there's no point to it at all. So yeah, I don't want to make this an apology video. Well, actually, just saying that, because I was gonna say, I don't want to make it an apology video because it's, like, mainstream and, like, oh, it's so cringy and so content creator. But I'm trying to be all, like, Luke Smith and, like, I'm better than you because it's like, I can see all the irony around, like, how fake everything is around us, and apology videos are so corny and fake in mainstream YouTube. But just me saying that is, like, just pure ego. I'm like, I'm above making apology videos, and that's just fucking insidious. The ego, like, loops are just so, like, encompassing. That's why I think, like, okay, I understand it a little bit more. I understand why I was wrong and how I shouldn't do this, but I'm still nowhere close to... I'm like 10% in a journey of realizations about my ego controlling certain things about my life. And yeah, it's another example of, like, and yeah, sorry, Bash Bunny, I do not actually mean that. I think you're doing great. But the other example is my friend Nicholas, who made that website. And deep down, I was thinking about, why do I have such a problem with this guy? Why was I being so mean to him? And because one of the comments said, like, usually this kind of stems from some kind of inferiority you feel to someone. That's, like, why you attack them in a certain way. Like, you can't beat them on one battlefield, but you can on another. And that, for me, was, like, looking at Nicholas, like, I'm worried, I guess, deep down, that he has the empathy and, like, the social connective abilities to do better than me in a software career, or whatever career, you know, and to, like, rise to a position of leadership because he's so good at dealing with people and not being an asshole like I am. And, like, he has the emotional and social intelligence I kind of lack. And I think deep down I was like, well, this guy, like, if he gets ahead of me, that would, like, hurt my ego, you know? Like, I work so hard to be good at all these things, and he could just beat me because of this. So I was like, I can attack him at like, the playing field I'm good at. Like, I can play the game I'm good at and always win that game. But that's just so dumb because I'm not winning the real important game of just not being, like, an asshole to like, being nice to other people. Like, what is it getting me to just totally smack someone down? It doesn't get me anything. Whereas if I had approached him much more constructively, you know, then I would have him... I think thankfully, he's a very forgiving guy. And I'm sorry I said all that stuff about you. Especially watching his newest videos, like, I don't know, he released some kind of response or something. But yeah, very forgiving given, like, all the stuff I said. But it's kind of like, yeah, I was just losing the game completely. I thought I was winning because, like, your ego fuels you to think that your logical arguments are just so impervious to, like, you're so smart that there's nothing you could be doing wrong. You know, for instance, I was, like, thinking about religion, because that's, like, one gripe I have about certain things he justifies. And I was like, oh, how can this guy even be religious? Like, how can you be so proud about, like, all this stuff, all this vibe coding and whatever? How can you have such a big ego and then champion a system of beliefs that's, like, pride and lying are the biggest sins, you know? Or not the biggest, but there's some sins in that ethos. And then it's like, wow, my argument is so smart, and like, what'll he ever fucking say to this? This'll destroy his entire worldview. And you have to be very careful doing that kind of thing because, yeah, not to, like, I want to try to stay humble, but I do feel like that some of that logic is like really, it can do real damage, because if you're persuasive enough, if you've thought about something like that enough, you can say things that genuinely derail people. Like, you're not just fully deranged and going off at them. I guess what I'm trying to say is, yeah, again, you do have a certain amount of intellect that makes you, you wouldn't be so egomaniacal, so obsessed with yourself, if you didn't have some kind of ability that you don't see around you, you know? And I guess that's a good transition into, like, programmers have this much more than other people, because we kind of go off on our own a little bit and do something not a lot of the rest of the population can do. Like, we spend a lot of time obsessing over inanimate objects, basically, if it comes down to it. Like, it's kind of an antisocial thing, especially if you're really into it. You know, some people kind of programming as a career, it's a means to an end. But for a lot of us, it's like you get really obsessed with a random programming language or Vim or whatever technology. That's like really weird objectively. So it's easy to feel kind of outcast or just very different from other people. But at the same time, you're kind of resentful. You're like resentful that you're an outcast, and you're also getting all this knowledge and skill that could give you a career advantage or just give you more knowledge about the world. So it's like a deadly cocktail of your abilities are going up while you're kind of isolating yourself and feeling like you're an outcast for it in some way. So you're like, fuck. I like, it's very, I feel like kind of understandable how these conditions can like boil an ego. And you can see it everywhere throughout software engineering. Like, you look at just all the career badges and LinkedIn culture and, yeah, GitHub pages and developer portfolios just spamming, I build elegant, you know. I don't want to get back into roasting, but I find it so crazy the amount of ego that's going on. Like, people just needing to feel validated that what they're doing is on the right track and socially acceptable. Like, there's just so many layers to it. You know, there's that macro layer, like, oh, we're programmers, we're kind of weird compared to other people. And then within the programming sphere, it's like, is this project good? Is it good enough to get me hired? Will other people like my work? And all that stuff is all ego. It's all just like you looking outward for confirmation that what you're doing is on the right track. And once you start to realize that, like, ego is everywhere. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm justified in having a massive ego because everyone else also has a massive ego. But once you start to really notice it in yourself, I've started to notice it everywhere in other people too. And yeah, it's everywhere in programming. It also really kind of helped solve a problem for me. In this book, Ego's the Enemy, they talk a lot about kind of famous-ish, yeah, I guess famous people, or people who are very achieved at something, kind of struggling with ego because, again, you're like, you do have something that other people don't. You have some skill you're really good at. But that ego can be the absolute downfall of you because you spend all your time just kind of basking in that approval from other people. You know, you create something and people like it a little bit. It's so easy to spend all your time just like obsessing over what people think about your work. So many stories of authors just reading tweets and whatever all the time. And it kind of solved a problem for me where I would be constantly reading my YouTube comments and looking at my numbers on every platform. You know, like, YouTubers don't like to admit that because it makes you seem kind of like weak-willed. But all of us, at least the ones without, like, anyone with an ego can't help but look at what people think about them. And when you have a constant stream of that, it's a massive time waste. And, you know, that kind of sinks you. Because I may be ahead right now, but if I spend all my time making kind of philosophical videos like this and then, like, just, like, thinking about how great I am and how other people perceive me, massive waste of time. You don't get any real work done. And this book was like, so the people that just don't care what anyone else really thinks about their work because they have so much confidence in their own craft and they just don't post it on GitHub, they don't make a blog, they don't make a YouTube channel, they just dial in on the work itself and, like, make it to their own standard. Those people are the ones who do the best. And it's not a completely easy thing to do. I mean, fighting your ego is quite difficult. And there's, I'm sure, tons of other people that have experienced similar things like this. But I just see it so much now, everywhere. Another great example in programming is people kind of attaching their value to a certain way of programming, to a certain language, to a certain operating system. I think a lot of you are kind of mature enough, you're past that point, and you can kind of get the jokes now, like, VS Code, who gives a shit what operating system, what fucking text editor you use, they're all the same. If you're getting real work done, who gives a fuck, you know? It's like just a random hobby. But you see kind of people, more beginners usually, or people that are just not that aware of their own ego yet. It's interesting, like the videos I made roasting vibe coding, I got like, I don't know, a good handful of 5 or 6 comments. It's not that many actually, but people kind of getting really mad at me and weirdly defending vibe coding, like, oh, you're pissed off, bro. Like, imagine spending all the time to learn to code when I could, like, vibe code out this application. I'm making money more than you already. And it's like so interesting that guy would be so offended at what I just said. Because if you were actually getting anything done, if you were actually making money, why would he feel the need to really put that out there? I don't know. I guess there's reasoning. You kind of want to make yourself, kind of want to defend yourself. It's when people like comment on my videos too, like, oh, unemployed guy roasting other unemployed guy. The urge to be like, actually, have you seen my 5 internships video? I got offered like multiple full-time software developer positions and I'm only 20, so get fucked. It's like, it doesn't matter, because if you know it yourself, like, why do you care so much about what other people think? Yeah, I think it's really a problem in software. It plagues kind of all of our characters. These like weirdly, yeah, I don't know, autistic, but just like obsessive about random things that most other people aren't type of guys. It just, yeah, it absolutely fuels your ego in a dangerous way. So you have to just kind of let go of it. Another, which I don't know how, I mean, I'll get to that in a second, but another important connection is The Social Network. I was watching that like with my mom a while ago, and Mark Zuckerberg, throughout the whole movie, I kind of did not see this ego subtext. Like, I just kind of chose to look past it because of my own ego, I guess. I was just like, damn, this guy's smart as fuck, and he if you don't know the story, he kind of hears the idea for Facebook and kind of screws it out of these other guys and just screws all his friends out of it in the most devious, like, he's just so logical and brutal and ruthless, and he has such good work ethic, and he just like destroys everyone around him in terms of intellect. But there's a scene where he's just like talking to this girl, his girlfriend, and like he says, oh, what do you know about being smart or whatever? You go to BU, you know, because he's at Harvard. And she's just like, you're an asshole, Mark. And I was like, well, he's not wrong, though, right? Like, he is at a more prestigious school. He's a really smart guy. But what did he even achieve? Like, he's just... And she says back to him, like, people like you, guys like you, think people won't like them because you're a nerd, you know, because you have some obscure-ass interest, like Vim or whatever. I think he used Emacs in the movie. But that's not why people won't like you, you know? It's because you're an asshole, because you're so elitist about your hobbies, being better than everyone else, being smarter than everyone else. That's why people don't like you. It has nothing to do with your hobbies, because people are into some weird-ass shit. Like, even people you think, oh, that's a popular, normal person, probably into feet or some shit, you know? And at least that's not me. I guess that's ego again, but... yeah, I don't know. There's worse things to be into, for sure. So I'm by no means torn up about being into Vim anymore. Even if you can feel isolated about it, just even if you like some weird-ass thing, even if you like, I don't know, fucking building Geometry Dash levels to dubstep. I used to do that as an 11th grader, or not 11th, I don't know, whenever I was in middle school. And then I was like, fuck, that's cringy as shit, but the people that went the farthest in that, built the coolest levels, had the coolest dubstep tracks, like, they didn't give a fuck, and they left a lasting impression on some community. And who gives a fuck, like, what weird interest you're into? Just, actually, people don't judge you as much as you want them to judge you. Nobody thinks about you. So yeah, that's about it. One comment I saw that I really liked, and there were many in that edgy video I posted, was, one thing you can do if you want to get yourself out of this loop and you've got what you consider a massive amount of intelligence and ego, which you all do probably, is try to maximize like the happiness and enjoyment of other people in your life, but also try to maximize your enjoyment at the same time. And he said, sounds easy, but is actually incredibly difficult. And that's very right. Like, just spend a month trying to maximize your happiness and other people's happiness together, which I think is such a smart thing because it kind of forces you to train two sides of yourself. So on the one side, there's like making yourself happy at the expense of other people is easy, you know, like if you want to just sleep around with hella girls, like that's easy to make you happy. That's like on one far extreme of, okay, I've made myself happy, but you're trying to get yourself happy and other people happy. The other extreme is putting all of your eggs into their basket, you know? Like, for instance, for me, I have a kind of hard time doing mundane things with people. Like, things that I find are not advancing my productivity, I'm like, fuck, I could be working right now. I could be learning this right now. I could be getting ahead of other people right now. And it prevents me from enjoying like simple interactions, like just like walking around with some friend I don't consider like intellectually deep enough. Like, this conversation is too surface level. I'm not getting anything out of it. And that's fucking horrible in itself. But the point is, that's the other side where you are making someone happy by doing something with them. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like playing whatever game with your grandmother, you know, and she's so overjoyed to see you, but you're like, oh, fuck, boring. I want to get on Linux YouTube or some shit like that, you know? And so you're kind of miserable, but the other person or people are really happy. And then back to the other thing, like you're just like manipulating everyone, fucking them, and like, well, yeah, in both ways, and just trying to get ahead in terms of your own happiness. It is quite hard to actually combine those, you know? You have to use all your wits. You have to think very carefully. What do I enjoy? What will, like, improve my life and let this other person also get in on this happiness, which I think is awesome. It takes your intellect and puts it towards something good. And what's great is it also would kind of do what I wanted initially, you know, which is to help people that I think are kind of stuck in opinions and cycles that I don't agree with, that I thought were inferior. They're not inferior, they're just on a different path. But if you're trying to combine your happiness and their happiness, you know, think about your happiness as a workflow, bro, as improving everything about yourself constantly, as having an ego, as wanting to be better, just constantly being competitive. That's not a bad thing necessarily. It can lead to ego, which is a bad thing. But being ambitious is a great thing. And if one of your friends kind of lacks that ambition, if you can pull them into one of your ambitious schemes, one of your improvement schemes, and do something with them that's like improvement for both of you, then you're helping them out of this thing, you're doing what you love, and you're also involving one of your friends in a deeper way, you know, or significant other whatever. You're involving them in something deeper. It's hard to like think of tons of concrete examples off the top of my head, but like one thing is, I don't know, doing certain mundane activities with friends. Like they want me to do some shit like that I just don't like. I don't really want to go out and eat at a restaurant. Like my efficiency mind kicks in, right? I'm like, well, it's the same macronutrients I could get at home. I don't fucking really enjoy food that much. It's just gonna waste my time. I could eat quickly and then be back to working, and that's like depressing attitude again. But so you don't want to do that, you know? Like you don't want to force yourself to go against your nature. Like it's actually, I think, it sounds depressing, but I think it's kind of fine to think like that. If you're just like, I'm not someone who enjoys going out to eat for dinner. It's like maybe with a friend with good conversation, I would, and I sometimes do, but it's not something I want to do all the time, you know? But what's something I do want to do all the time is work on like a sick project and get ahead and improve my skills. You have a friend that programs, you know, why don't you fucking go program something together and like rope them into your scheme? Like, why don't you bring them along with you in your workflow journey, in your betterment journey? It's also like, I think, a good argument for like athletically challenging your friends as well, just like doing things like that, or just challenging them in general. Push your boundaries and take people with you while you're doing it, because I'd like to actually give a more concrete example than that one, because it's kind of opaque and not really based on my real life experience. So I could say with my Greek roommate, Jake, we do a lot of things that meet in the middle. Like, for instance, we work on a lot of programming projects. I love that because I feel like I'm improving. I feel like I'm getting some real output from it. But that's kind of meeting in the middle, maybe a little more to my side, because I'm just like super into that kind of improvement thing. And in the spirit of this, I was like, what if I meet Jake more on his side? He's always asked me to play like Smash Ultimate. And I was like, fuck, I don't really want to do that. Or another instance, he was like, dude, we should just go up to Montreal and bar hop. And I was like, but I could be getting work done, you know? I don't really fucking wanna. And I just did it in the spirit of, like, letting go of my ego, you know, and what I think is just a better activity objectively. And both of those things were fucking fun as fuck, you know? And a lot of the things like that, you're like, oh, I don't do that. That's mainstream. That's dumb. That type of music is dumb, and like a certain type of person listens to it, and you just let your ego hold you back. I can't do that activity because it's for losers, when you really deep down enjoy that activity. It's like you're literally just lying to yourself so that like a crowd of people that's like a complete construct, you want them to perceive you a certain way, and nobody fucking notices or gives a shit at all. It's like, what the fuck are you even doing with your life at that point? So yeah, lots of realizations. I would just try things, honestly, even if you think that's fucking so dumb. I would never want to watch that show. I'd never want to waste time. I never want to do XYZ with that person, because their world can be really surprising. But not to say don't let yourself get fully swept away too. Try to bring them into your side of enjoyment. Try to bring them into workflows and improving. Just give and take in a generous way, and I think you'll get a lot more out of it. It's like, you don't have to meet in the middle, you know? You can actually go over to someone else's side or your side and both have a blast because you haven't really experienced it before. So yeah, that's a great way to make friends and connect with people and improve their lives and improve your life. And that's kind of my current plan for maximizing happiness all around. I'm sure there's lots of other ways to approach that, but yeah, I love that comment, Guy. That was really smart. And yeah, let me think. There are tons and tons of other great comments where I think people, I mean, you should go read them. There are a bunch of really smart people, and some people I was like, wow, this person is that's the next level up in awareness. You know, just acknowledging your ego isn't really enough. You also have to deal with it. You have to take your surface level appearance and just like change it. And you have to change it deeply as well. You have to actually let go of things, or else you won't be able to improve. But overall, this experience has helped me greatly. Like, I used to check YouTube so many times a day, like literally hundreds. Well, I don't know, hundreds. In the high double digits, you know? And that's just such a waste, because I can condense that all down to one 10-minute block, and I'm not shattering my focus just constantly seeking validation. So now I just check it once in the morning, and it's kind of stuck with me, because if you have reasoning behind it, it's not just like, bro, I need to work harder. Fuck, I gotta just buckle down and get this done. I can't check YouTube. I've got to just be disciplined about it. It doesn't work nearly so well as when you go to the root cause and you realize this is all just for fueling my ego, and it actually doesn't get me where I want to. But yeah, again, I know I'm probably still now, at least I like to think I'm a little more aware, like blind to my issues, my problems, and like, because I didn't see this before, guys, I kind of saw it, but I didn't recognize it as a problem. At least now I know I'm capable of breaking out of a thought loop. And I haven't fixed everything, obviously, but at least now I'm looking at it, and that's the first step in recovering from some kind of behavior like this, I think. So yeah, again, I don't want to make anything like this just a selfish... Yeah, that comment really stuck with me, and I'm glad people are giving such good constructive criticism and not holding back and not sugarcoating anything. I mean, that's what I did, and it did harm people in some ways, but it really helped me when that guy was just like, dude, nobody gives a fuck. Stop being like me, all my stuff. And other people saying, yeah, your content strikes a dissonant chord where you're on the one hand being all open and stuff about your ego, but then you're just fucking flexing your ego anyway. And yeah, those two comments are excellent. It's interesting because kind of it's almost a mix of satire but not satire when I'm like acting superior to people. And it's kind of hard to separate, you know. I don't really like the term rage bait. I don't know why. Maybe it's again that Luke Smith, oh, I'm better than internet terminology that's mainstream attitude. Fuck, maybe it is that. My whole life is a lie. But anyway, yeah, I guess it's not intentional rage bait. It's just like my persona of being condescending is... Yeah, it's not entirely because I'm condescending. I do put a little bit of that on, but not... Like, a lot of it is also genuinely coming from a place where I feel like I'm better than someone else, which is terrible. And, yeah, I guess that's about it. I'll keep improving upon it. Looking at it, I think that one comment, like saying that you're being so selfish and arrogant and all that stuff, like it really did. You're really right, actually. My ego did not want me to believe it for the longest time. And maybe it still doesn't at some deep subconscious level. I wouldn't be surprised, but I want to get back to more content that I think is less about me, less about introspective, I've got a massive ego, less about I'm the center of the universe, more about just here's an interest I have that you can extract some information because you share the same interest. You know, types, Vim, board games, whatever the fuck. I don't know. I'll keep throwing that out there. Maybe I'll make more videos like this, but I think they'll try to be more useful to more people and less me-centric. So yeah, that's about it. I'll catch you next time. And here's one more example of that insidious meta-awareness ego. I was biking home and I was like, wow, I just solved all of my... I psychoanalyzed myself and used logic to just... Who needs a therapist? I'm so brilliant. I figured out all my own problems and can solve them. And that's like, damn, there's the ego again, jeez. And it's like just an endless loop of something trumping itself. And even now I'm like, well, at least I realized that. I'm smarter than most people. And it's like, fuck, how do you even escape this ever? Yeah.